Welcome. This is Unit 5 of Real Shanghai Mathematics Practice Book 1.2, and this consists of 5 parts, I believe. Yeah, 5 parts, and it's called Let's Practice Geometry. So the first of these is called left and right. So just getting your child familiar with left and right. So question 1 is right, left, or right in the brackets. I've mentioned it before, but I repeat it here in terms of left and right. Right is the hand that you shake with, so that could help for your child. Or another way is, particularly when looking at a page, we write in English from left to right, and that's another way of knowing which side is left and which side is right, and that needs to be labeled. And question 2 is who is on the left of Emma? So Alex is on the left of Emma, and is on the right of Emma. Dylan is on the right of Emma, so getting familiar with that. And then question 3 is again, who does Jacob have on his left? And so on and so forth. So it should be fairly straightforward. Maybe not for a child if he's not familiar with them, but should be straightforward for yourselves. You need to teach your children. Question 2. So part 2, above, middle, below, left, center, and right. So they give you an animal's house with 12 objects in there, 12 animals there. And the question 1 is the shaded square shows where the animal lives, which animal lives there. So which of those? So that would be cockerel, and so on and so forth. And you need to circle the correct answer. Question 2, color the box where the animal lives. So for the duck, that will be, where is the duck? Okay, so that would be a second from bottom and on the right hand side. So who lives in the top 3 rooms? So getting familiar with terms of top, goose, cow, and cat, and lives in the bottom 3, hippo, tortoise, frog, and lives next to the elephant. So that'll be either side of the elephant, and lives between the cockerel and dog, and that will be cockerel and dog, squirrel. And then moving on to the next one, which is comparing lengths. So this is about getting a child familiar with shorter and longer. So the particular girl is taller than the other girl, and then vice versa. And then question 2, compare the length, and you write longer. So the crayon is shorter than the pencil, and the pencil is longer than the crayon. So the opposite of question 3 is about thicker and thinner, and the dictionary is thicker. And then question 4 is about using squared paper to count the lengths. So the pencil, they've done it for you, 10 squares. How much is the eraser? So that's the length, how long it is, the longer part really. And question 5, color the longest bar black, and you can color the shortest bar red. And should be fairly straightforward. If you're struggling, you can use a ruler. Compare the distances and write longer or shorter for question 6. And this is about counting the squares. I think when you count the squares, you'll realize that root B is the longer root. And moving on to part 4, measurements. Measure the length parts of the body. The length of one pace is how much? So this is getting familiar with the ruler. And same for the foot, and same for the finger or the hand span. And question 2, let's measure with the ruler. So showing you how to measure with the ruler, you always start with having the object at 0 centimeters and counting from there. And so the paper clip is 5 centimeters, and the length is 5 centimeters and 7 millimeters. So the small ones are called millimeters. So just a quick recap. Hasn't been mentioned before, but this is what you will need. At the moment, they will need, and later on this will be sort of cemented in, but there's 3 units: meter, centimeter, and millimeters. Millimeters is the smallest one, centimeter is in between, and meter is the largest. 100 centimeters make a meter, that's why it's called centi, and 1000 milli is to do with 1000 milliliters, millimeters make a meter, and 1 meter equals 100 centimeter, and 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. So you need to be familiar with that. And then question 3 is to do with sizes. So you should need to know cup is in centimeters, hill will be in meters, pound coin will be millimeters, and the length of strip graph will be meter. And then question 4 is about measurement, which has been done before in question 2, so it should be fairly straightforward. And then moving on to 5, which is to do with line segments. So these are lines where you've got a beginning and an ending part to them. So this one will be a line segment, the beginning and an end part to the, whereas if you just got a beginning and nothing end to it, that won't be a line segment. And it doesn't say a straight line, so I'm assuming the curved lines are included in that. And then you need to measure, again, measuring question 2, you use a ruler, and the ruler always line up the beginning bit to the 0 centimeters, and then that way you can know exactly the right centimeters. And these should be centimeters whole numbers. If they're not, because the page, I'm not sure, then just random. The point is about the exercise is to be able to do it rather than getting it exactly right. And E should be straightforward as well. Just measure it and write it down. And the bottom bit is the total amount. And 3, again, the rectangular measurement, again, from the starting to the end point and how many centimeters it is. And then the overall length would be all those added together. And you can see the units. Units need to be continued, whatever the unit is, carries on. And the question 4, let's draw a line segment 6 centimeters long, and then draw a line segment 3 centimeter, 5 millimeters long, so 3.5 centimeters long. And then question 5, just to get them familiar with addition, 23 plus 12, as you can see, that's all together, and 70 take away 48 for the next one. And the calculation is fairly straightforward, but again, important is you can see the units should be carried over. So units are important, because if we don't put units, then we don't know. So 43 centimeters to 90 centimeters is going to be an answer which is going to be in centimeters. It can't be an answer, then you're going to write in millimeters without making adjustments for that. Question 6, read carefully. Total length is 95, one of the 58. So how are we going to find out? Is it 95? Is the other one going to be larger or smaller? Clearly smaller, and then write the answers. And question 3, again, that would be an addition to get the answer. And if your child is getting confused with the term, then he's not sure about adding, take away, as I mentioned before, you can demonstrate it with a ribbon or a piece of paper or something that's much shorter, just to give the principle. It doesn't have to be 95 centimeters. It could be 2 centimeters. And you could say the total length of these 2 ribbons that you have is 5 centimeters. One of these, as you can see, is 3 centimeters that you have. And then how much would the other one be? And then the child would say, oh, this one has to be 2. And then you go, okay, well, that's what happens with these wording. So you can see the way to do that is subtraction. And so they can get familiar with the wording, and that the answer is going to be smaller or larger. And if it's smaller, then it means subtraction. Please do like and subscribe, and put down your comments and share, and also please do provide feedback, as it is difficult for me to know how much depth to go into and whether more information is required, particularly for those of you who are just relying on this material and don't go to any school as such. I need to know whether more information is required, although every child may be different and there may be some strengths and weaknesses and some information that need to go into more details. So please do let me know. And with that, we'll end.